Time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Weather for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat. Check a bag like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling. Tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP. Balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player of the day, let's break the slate.
Here. What's up, guys? Happy Friday, December 16th. My goodness, bro. This month it disappeared. It dissipated. It's about to be Christmas. I love Christmas. I didn't make a Christmas theme. Maybe next week we'll rock some Christmas themed streams. Because I love Christmas. It's the best. It's just the best. Man, how'd you guys do last night? We had kind of a wonky 4-gamer with a ton of news. Like a ton of it. And mixed results. So we had to, if we had to give away some awards, that guy for me was Chris Middleton. I profited nicely, and I was actually still in contention for some of my single entries with Chris Middleton, which obviously I never would have won. But my goodness, Chris Middleton, what were we doing? Bucks get blown out, smoked by 40, and then the rest of the slate okay. The Rockets-Miami game offered the Tyler Hero 58.5 fantasy point game along with Jimmy Butler, power forward Jimmy Butler on FanDuel. Those were core pieces for me. And then Ja Morant led the entire slate in fantasy points. So I guess it really came down to if you were able to avoid Giannis, really the Bucks, right? Giannis and Middleton, you did well. Middleton played 22 minutes, 5 fouls, and just 13.5 DraftKings points. So hopefully you guys avoided them and did well. But shout out to the live chat, ducking Juju Black Mane. Okay, hey, it's his name. Tizzleman, send in the chat. What up, Steve? Pojen, EB, Josh, Them, Corbanzo. Which, by the way, Corbanzo, Keith Mason, Trevor, appreciate the subs. Welcome to the channel. 12-team point lead, KPJ for Trey Jones and Larry Nance. 12-team points lead, KPJ for Trey Jones and Larry. I mean, yeah, I would, but I don't want to give away too much season-long advice because I don't really play NBA season-long, but it seems fair. What else we got here? What up, Crispy? How are you? Last night's prime example, I had 200 points with like 138 minutes to go. I had Amir Coffey, Nick Batum, and John Wall. Yeah, John Wall kind of underwhelmed, but it was certainly a range of outcome in my mind that John Wall wouldn't burst through a 30-minute threshold. He played just 24 or 26, but I still had like 50% of them, so I understood that. But yeah, I was hoping for a ceiling production from him rather than just a run-of-the-mill 26. Amir Coffey I didn't get to, but he played a ton of minutes, so that's a rough one for him to be like half a point per minute. What up, Buff? Man, there's a lot of people in chat today. Shout out to everyone. Everyone hates Chris. Jake scored 340 plus last night on my birthday. Let's go. Major money back. Let's go. I doubled up. What up, King of all trades? Aggressive Goose. Middleton's dead to me. You know, I got to think, we all have our one guy, right? In DFS, maybe we have multiple. But I got to thinking, man, how often has Chris Middleton just really messed me over comparative to like the field? I'm trying to think of someone else I just don't have, like other people I'll just give up on, right? Javon Carter, I never. But Middleton, I always play Middleton in spots like this, and I feel like the success rate does not warrant the amount of trust I go back to him. It's like an abusive relationship, but I believe he'll change. You know, it's my fault. It wasn't his. It was my fault. You guys have that player for you? I would have played Orlando Robinson. Dude, I had a 30-minute projection on Orlando Robinson, and I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't believe that Udonis Haslem was going to play 25, 30 minutes. And yeah, Orlando Robinson was actually one of the highest value projections in my model, but I didn't land on it too much. I was happy with the 4% owned Jock Landale on FanDuel. That one kind of surprised me. Small forward was due to it, yeah. What up, Antoine? What up, Timmy? Had 90% Middleton. Oof. John Wall went out mid-third quarter, never came back. Yeah, Ty Lue, baby, Ty Lue. Coffee had 0 at the half. Oof. Middleton has done that. Yeah, literally EB. Middleton's that guy for me, man. That guy for me. Looking through last night's scores. Jordan Clarkson, $7,100, was the third highest raw fantasy point scorer with 57.5 DraftKings points, 39 real points in 39 minutes. Huge from him. And then Zion Williamson, I think this is something that helped me out a lot, is on FanDuel, I was willing to forego Giannis Antetokounmpo lineups, even though he had a raw projection that was so much higher than everyone else for me. I just thought there was a lot of juicy guys that are 2K less. John Morant, Zion, Hero, Butler. And Zion was a guy that came through really, really strong for me, and scoring 20 more than Giannis doesn't hurt. So I think that's why I did well last night. And then, of course, I always love playing Terrence Mann when I get a chance. Looking through the scores here, I'm not seeing any like super shock. I guess Josh Okogie, if you would have landed on him, he had a double-double, 11 and 11. Crazy. But other than that, it was really just avoiding the Bucks last night, and you might have made yourself some money. heavy on Middleton too. Yeah, the overtime definitely helped that game, but it was logistical to be there. That was my favorite game of the night. I didn't get to much 7K Jordan Clarkson, being fully honest there. So that was a huge pickup if you landed there, man. Congratulations. I just didn't. I was on Bridges over Middleton. I wish I was too. That would have bought me another 15, 20 points, I feel like. Batum killed you. Nick Batum is one of those guys I've given up on years ago as well. But I understand why you would have been there. Anyway, we have a big slate tonight. So I guess if we're done dwelling on the past, we should maybe start taking a look at the future, because there's a lot of things to break down tonight. 10 games on the slate. And we're going to try and peruse through it as quick as possible, do a little bit of research here, and I'll try and get you guys out of here in a little over an hour. If you already done some research, you already got some plays in your back pocket, definitely share it with the class as we go, game by game. And as always, this stream brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you guys want to get access to the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, the NFL spreadsheet, the 24/7 VIP Discord, go to RunDFS.com, click yourself VIP memberships. We got people, like the song says, all different bankrolls, all different strategies, all different game types. So we've got millionaires, multi-millionaire winner, all-in fan. We got people grinding single entries, quarter arcades, MME, whatever it is you do, we got somebody in there for you to connect with. And then every day before lock, I'm hanging out for 2 hours in the voice chat, sometimes a little bit extra, talking, but really just hanging out, and then carving out a player pool, working on our exposures, all that good stuff. So find something that's right for you. Every pass comes with a Fantasy Cruncher voucher that you can use to get a discounted membership at Fantasy Cruncher, which is the optimizer I use to manage my lineups every night. And yeah, let's get jumping into the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. Game number 1 tonight, the Sacramento Kings at the Detroit Pistons. De'Aaron Fox, Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, and Domantas Sabonis up against Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. 237 total, 5.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Sacramento Kings with a healthy Fox. I guess what we're looking for here is the status of Kevin Huerter. His absence against that Toronto team the other night opened up some value opportunity for Terrence Davis. So we'll see if fellow Yankee fan Kevin Huerter is good to go or not. He is questionable with left ankle soreness. Did not play Wednesday, so we'll see if he plays today. If he can't go, like I said, we saw Terrence Davis draw a start there. Fox is going to project well. 237 total is a medium well enough total that I want to be targeting. And De'Aaron Fox kind of stands out. I'm getting a 40-plus fantasy point projection. I love picking on the Pistons with the point guards as it is. It's just been a Honeywell for that. I got to open up DVP. There we go. If we go look at that team metrics chart, or no, the team DVP chart in the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet, Detroit has been top 5 in fantasy points allowed to opposing point guards. Yes, DVP needs all the context in the world, but that's been a sustainable trend all year. So everything checks off well for De'Aaron Fox, and I think at this price point, he might fall through the cracks here on a slate like this, because I do think we're going to have a thought to go play Trae Young without DeJounte in that game, that massive total. But I certainly won't go to war tonight without some Fox exposure. Everyone else is kind of secondary to tertiary. Domantas Sabonis at 9K on both sites. Let's go run some on-offs here. I am kind of interested to see if there's a neutral to negative impact of not only Fox on the court, but Fox and Huerter. So let's do Sabonis on Fox off this season, because it does feel like those big Sabonis games where he smashed the slates came in the absence of De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis is 1.3 fantasy point per minute, 21% usage rate in that split. the fantasy points per minute is huge. The 31% assist rate is huge. 20% usage rate is not that crazy. But putting them both on the court together, what does that do? Brings them to 1.3. The usage rate is similar. The assist rate is similar. So I guess it's just a matter of staying out of foul trouble. So Sabonis still has a top 5 player ceiling, but I do think the ceiling might be a little bit more volatile as he shares the court with a guy like Fox. So I'll have him in the back of the pool, probably be a sub 10% tier 3 for me. But it is the guy that if he can stay out of foul trouble, the minutes should be there for him. So give me Fox, give me Sabonis in this really high total. Who do I want to run it back with? Bojan Bogdanovic is usually my favorite option. Guy that should lead the team, the Pistons team, in scoring, in shot attempts. Might compete with like an Ivy, but there's a real shot at 20 plus real points, and then add to it from there. 24, 38, 19, 31, 4 of his last 5 games. So if he can, if they are going to stay competitive, which a 5-point spread kind of gives me a hope that it would, he certainly has a ceiling worth running back if you're going to get to a decent chunk of Fox and Sabonis. So 50 plus fantasy points in 2 of his last 5, and 40 plus in 3 of his last 8. So not an every game output, but I think with a floor or a median projection that's closer to mid 30s, I've got him at 32 with a potential ceiling there. I definitely think Bojan's my favorite Piston to get to if I have to. I'm not going to be that enthralled with Hayes, Ivy, everyone else. If they fall, they fall. But on a big slate like this, unlike last night, I sell out for ceiling. And just guys that I think have an obtainable ceiling at a decent percentage of the simulation, I think Bojan is the run back for me in my Fox and Sabonis ways. If Herter doesn't go, Terrence Davis is at 3,900 still on DraftKings. I'd be right back to the well on him. Let's get caught up on chat if we got anything. Davis 50 bomb on Detroit last season, repeat with Fox 2. Oh, with Terrence Davis 50 bomb? Oh, man, I don't know about repeating that, but it's possible. We like guards. I miss having a co-host so I could just drink whenever. Yo, Jason, man, I appreciate that sub. Welcome to the channel. David Kovetsky says, you're Hero, Butler, Terrence Mann, Wall, Green, KBJ took down my 10-man, quick $50. That's really good. Man, I don't know if I'm ashamed, but I really didn't have much Kevin Porter Jr. And I'm not results oriented because I was fine with my results. I feel like the big guys I paid up for were more than fine. But in the early onset of the slate, I was looking up and I saw like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. up there, and I was like, man, that makes a lot of sense, and I just didn't do it. But it was fine because I invested in a little bit more in guys like Zion and John Morant, stuff like that. So it is what it is. But it was one of those situations where I feel like I had a revelation that I was sleeping on him, and considering the circumstances on a 4-game slate, I maybe should have been more woke in regards to them, but I wasn't. What are you gonna do? Hawks at the Hornets, second game on the 7 p.m. lock list. These are 2 juicy games at lock, by the way. A 237 total and a 240 total. That might lead the rest of the night in over-unders. So unlike some other nights where there's like a Philly game or whatever, or a Cavs game where we can forego that and just wait for more news, I think we want exposure to these first 2 games, all things considered, especially this Hornets game as they host the Atlanta Hawks. Project starting 5 for the Hawks tonight: Trae Young, AJ Griffin, DeAndre Hunter, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, taking on LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, and Mason Plumlee. A 240.5 total, 3-point spread in favor of the Charlotte Hornets. There's a lot of outs in that starting lineup for the Atlanta Hawks. No Clint Capella, no John Collins, no DeJounte Murray. Huge absences, which would only make Trae Young look that much more appealing against a LaMelo Ball defense that I love picking on. And that was like the spot that I loved last year. Not only do I think that LaMelo Ball is somebody we can get by defensively, but I also think that his presence might create a trend upwards in pace for the Hornets, because the Hornets were one of the fastest teams last year with LaMelo Ball a little bit healthier, and so far without him they've been really neutral. So I do think it's possible that we start seeing their pace rating go up and just something I'll be tracking. But this is a massive spot for Trae Young. I imagine it's going to come with ownership, and how could it not? But he has a real shot at being the top fantasy scorer on the slate. What did my first run projections give me? Gave me Trae Young third behind Jokic and Doncic. That's some pretty good company to be behind. And if we go put some context to it, using the Wowie tool over at Add More Funds, let's put Trae Young on the court. Let's take off the big boys. First of all, DeJounte alone is really all that we need to see to invest. A 1.4 fantasy point per minute on DraftKings on the court this season without DeJounte Murray, a 40% assist usage rate, a 50% assist rate, just insane. Taking off Collins and Capella, and I don't even know that we have much Capella or much Young without Capella. Without Collins, still 40%, 48% assist rate. We start taking away some of his scorers. I guess it's natural for the assist rate to go down, but I still think he's going to compensate it with scoring. And then taking them all off, 43% usage rate, 39% assist rate. Basically, I'm saying Trae Young might average in this matchup with this total 1.4 fantasy point per minute. And if that happens on a 32-minute projection, which is kind of conservative, that's going to net back, wait, what do we do? 1.4 times 32, 44, 45. Yeah, and then I think it's a real chance that he could play like 38 to 39 minutes in a competitive game. So Trae Young is going to be one of the guys that I anchor my night around, 39, 42, 37. 50 plus fantasy points seems like a reasonable expectation, and this is one of those spots where his floor, if that happens, is just too good for me to pass up with what's likely going to be some really easy to get to value on a 10-game slate, and a lot of that value might come on this very own team. Onyeka Okongwu, in the absence of Clint Capella, he's a guy that could play 30-plus minutes as the center here. Let's go look at the rotation from that Atlanta game against Orlando. Capella started that game. Every minute that Capella wasn't on the court, Onyeka Okongwu was, and he logged 25 minutes as is. So I guess there is a pathway for like maybe Frank Kaminsky to play and maybe play backup, but I think Okongwu has a real shot at 30 minutes. So I think point per minute Okongwu against the Charlotte Hornets, which has been a Honeywell for centers this season as well. That's going to be a extremely high correlation exposure-wise for me between Trae Young. Hornets are allowing the second most fantasy points per game to opposing bigs. So Trae Young and Okongwu might be core plays for me. Everyone else is very much in play. Jalen Johnson, depending on what the minute projection can get to with confidence, I think he could contest for a point per minute. Hunter's a little less warm and fuzzy. AJ Griffin as well, but AJ Griffin's, I think we ran this last show that this was on. AJ Griffin's point per minute, 0.7. And then Bogdanovich. So give me Trae, Bogdan, Okongwu as guys that I'll have a ton of tonight, and then we'll kind of sprinkle in the others. And on the Hornets side, Kelly Oubre, I did not get to him in that last outing. That was the first game back for LaMelo Ball, and Oubre's basically max price at $7,400, and he drops a 50 bomb in LaMelo's return. 27 shot attempts against the Detroit Pistons. So I was not ready for that. Is that going to open my eyes for him going forward as a near 8K player? No. I still think he's going to fall into some lineups tonight. Him, Terry Rozier, guys like that, just because it's 240 total. But he did run pretty well. What I also do like about that LaMelo Ball debut is 34 minutes right off the rip after a month off. There was some quotes about him playing in bursts and stuff like that, and you're always wondering about minutes monitored. But 34 minutes off the rip, and now we're in a 240 total. LaMelo Ball is not going to be AK for long. With him, you're really just worrying about foul trouble, and he did foul out in those 34 minutes against Detroit. And we've kind of seen that rear its ugly head this season, 5 fouls in 28 minutes against Miami. But LaMelo Ball at AK is just too good if he's going to be off the any type of minute restriction. So running him at Trae Young on both sides at an exuberant amount. And then Rozier and Oubre feel like similar plays for me, where they're both going to be pretty risky to pay off that price tag. Probably very scoring dependent to pay off that price tag. But I would probably want to get to some of them in 100, 150 just based on the game script of this one. And it isn't necessarily a negative correlation to put him with LaMelo, because LaMelo is such a facilitator, already averaging 8 assists per game. So I like that. Gordon Hayward's supposed to play today. That might be more pessimism for Oubre's minutes and 27 shot attempts. So I passed LaMelo. I'm not getting into anyone with any bit of confidence, but I have to have a little bit of Rozier and Oubre, just a little bit. So Trae Young, Okongwu, Bogdan, LaMelo Ball, those 4 guys, I'm taking them to the bank, and hopefully it pays off, right? Is it a Bogdan? I hope it's a Bogdan night, right? There are a lot of OG cards in the 8K range with upside, yeah. And like I said, I think LaMelo Ball is somebody, when we look back at a month, he might be 9,500 if he stays healthy. This guy was just insane. Matter of fact, just in short sample size, let's look at that Charlotte. Actually, let's just look at LaMelo Ball this season. We don't need to add anyone on or off. 1.16 fantasy points per minute. So even a 1 fantasy point per minute would be enough for me to be on board. But a 27% usage rate, 33% assist rate, I'm with that. By the way, chat, this stream brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. If you guys are looking to maybe simplify your approach tonight, Underdog's the way to do it. Kind of like our other partners, they will double your first deposit up to $100 when you sign up. Use code GUNDACKER, and whenever you do deposit, they'll double it instantly. So looking at LaMelo Ball and Trae Young, we talked about their assist rate. Trae Young's assist prop's at 11. I think that's extremely appropriate. I'm a little bit scared just because some of his scores are not there, but LaMelo Ball is at 33.5 PRA on a 240 total. I'm somewhat intrigued by this. What was my early projection for LaMelo on PRA? I think it was around 33.5. It's at 35, so I'm on the over, and I like this game to shoot out. So something early on that I might get behind is this over of 33 PRA. So let's do Underdog leans tonight. Let's go LaMelo over 33.5 PRA. I'm gonna create a list as I go. I think both Ball brothers are so injury prone. Yeah, unfortunately. Very talented too. Okongwu getting 20 plus rebounds today. That's a bit ambitious, but if you think so, you should be slamming the 10.5 rebounds over at Underdog. 12.5 points too. They charge you one for to combine them. Next game on the docket, we got the Orlando Magic at the Boston Celtics. So we're going from the 7 p.m. slot to the 7:30. Markelle Fultz, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Bobo, and Mo Wagner taking on Marcus Smart, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford. Robert Williams is supposed to make his debut today, right? Let's see if we can get an update on all things Boston. I'm gonna be honest, from the forefront, this is probably a game I X out of on a 10 gamer, and hope that Tatum doesn't drop 80. Time Lord could be back in action Friday night. ESPN's Wojnarowski reported that Williams plans to play, but is officially listed as questionable, with Al Horford also questionable. The Celtics for front court, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I got Horford closer to in. Yeah, he's available. Okay. That's from NBC Sports Edge. And then Marcus Smart is questionable with a non-COVID related illness. So if he can't go, that may be interesting. We could see Derek White, we could see Malcolm Brogdon. There's definitely some outs here. Now, all things considered, once all the dust settles, if you add more people to the equation for the Celtics, and then you think about them hosting a team like the Magic, there's not a lot to like here, and this 12.5 point spread is scary. Tatum's about 11K on both sides, and Jaylen Brown's about 9K on both sides. So there's a real chance I have 0% exposure to this game. We look at pace rating. Orlando Magic is bottom 7 in pace in the NBA, and then Boston's neutral to slow, and then Boston defensively is really, really good. top 10 in defensive efficiency. Meanwhile, the Orlando Magic are bottom 5. So there's a lot of reason to buy into this double-digit point spread. Maybe not expect a competitive second half or a fourth quarter with your starter. So this is going to be a game I'll be sitting out on. Do you guys have any pushback on that? Like, I guess if Marcus Smart didn't play, we could make a greater case for a Brogdon or a Derek White or something like that, depending on what they roll out. Because there's still a chance that, like, maybe they push everyone up and Robert Williams plays the 5, but they also will likely just be slow with it. I think on a 10-game slate, I'll let this game beat me if it beats me, and I'll invest my equity elsewhere. Projection-wise, I'm getting 53 fantasy points on Tatum at that price point. He absolutely has to do that. Tatum's coming in as a top 8 projection for me, which is not that not that impressive to me compared to a lot of the guys above him being cheaper. So I'm just gonna stay away from this game. And if you guys have somebody you like, please share it. But I don't think this one is gonna be the one for me. Horford's in. Horford baby game. I thought Horford was out for an injury. I know he had kid. He had his 5th kid, right? Okay, that's what it was. I thought he also had an illness. I guess not. Cherry Kool-Aid. If you know, you know. All right, I'm moving on from that game. There's not much there for me. Still at the 7:30 slot. Another slow-paced team against a high-paced team. A little fire and ice. Pacers project starting 5. Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Buddy Hield, Aaron Nesmith, and Miles Turner taking on Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Lamar Stevens, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Got 2-2-2 and another one, 2 as our total 8-point spread in favor of the home team, Cleveland Cavaliers. These two teams really could not get much different if they tried. Fastest team in the league, or one of the fastest team in the league, Indiana Pacers, one of 5 or 6 teams that average over 102 possessions per game. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the slowest team in basketball, right down there with the Dallas Mavericks. Defensively, the Pacers are allowing 113.5 points per 100 possessions, while the Cavaliers are the league's second best defense. So this is one of those spots where does it pay to get creative and contrarian? I think 9.4K Tyrese Halliburton, this has been my dude all year, but I think today I'm just gonna let him be. I think 9.4K, that's a down payment on Trae Young. A couple $100 more, go get me that. And then, I'm not enamored with the pace down spot for them. And then certainly this game can go sideways. So I don't have much from the Pacers. I'll get to some tier 3 exposure of Halliburton, or at least I'll allow it. If the Opto gives it to me, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But elsewhere on this team, I don't think I'm that going to be that invested. I think Darius Garland under a K is worth getting to. Getting kind of a De'Aaron Fox vibe in terms of the projections, and he's cheaper than Fox, 42 fantasy points, and this pace-up spot for the Pacers could create some more opportunities for him to maybe grab some of his defensive peripherals over a steal per game, kind of the same song and dance for Donovan Mitchell, so I might get to a little sprinkle of them, but I don't think I'm going to be crazy heavy on this game. Duncan says I'm eyeing Mobley and Allen, don't like it. I think that's fair. I think the game script here from the Pacers, not only do they push the pace, but if they're going to play from a decent deficit, could play even faster to try and score, the sense of urgency be higher, and that could create more rebounding opportunities for both Mobley and Jared Allen. And Allen is already a guy that's coming out pretty decent in the projection, right? Nothing I have to cram in. 38 fantasy points for Mobley on FanDuel, 39 for Jared Allen, but that's like fine, right? I wouldn't take it out, but I wouldn't, lock it. So, I think those guys are more than fair to leave in the Opto blender, Stevens punt, Lamar Stevens, probably not for me, but $3,500. I guess if you needed to squeeze it out, the matchup's there. But I gotta imagine he's last on the team in permanent production, and he's easily the lowest in the starting lineup for me in minute projection. So I'm not there, but like you could do worse, I guess, at that price range in this really, really nutty matchup. Mitchell looks like he should do well as well. Yeah, I'd be more inclined to get to him at 8,600 on DK. That 9,100 price point on FanDuel, he's going to have to really come through for that. But it is, like, I guess, as much as I'm poo-pooing the spot, Pacers have been a process matchup all year for me to attack. So maybe I'm sleeping a little bit and being a little too pessimistic about the Cavs' pace and the Cavs putting them down. So maybe I should open up a little bit, but the gut isn't in love with this game from first look, I had Baisley and lost him. Darius Baisley. 3,600. Kevin Love. Yeah. Hey, would Love? Let's see. Do we have Kevin Love blowout run? I don't think we do. Right? He's got to be protected. If we got that, nah, man. That is really cheap, though. That is really cheap, ducking. Man. I wouldn't fault you. At 150 on DraftKings tonight, I'd probably get a pinch, 2 or 3%, see what happens. That's really low. General thought is keep some flexibility for late swap Gobert and Russell. Yeah, that's fair. I was going to play Love, no line. I think I may slide him to a lineup. I think that price is worth a shot or two considering the matchup. His per minute production is probably going to be nuts. He's got to be over like a 1.2, 1.3 maybe fantasy point per minute. Let's see. Kevin Love. Could double in 8 minutes, maybe. He's 1.15 fantasy point per minute. 20% usage rate. That's a maybe. I'll put him in the back pocket for like risky value tonight. I don't know that on FanDuel I get there, but on DraftKings like 100% I'm seeing what you guys are seeing. So maybe a little bit. What else we got? We got the Warriors at the 76ers. Another big spread here. We got 8 spread, 12.5 point spread, and now this game 10 point spread. Projects 25 for the Warriors. Dante DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga, Kevin Looney taking on James Harden, DeAnthony Melton, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. 221 is the total and the 10 point spread from the Department of Redundancy Department. Golden State Warriors injury report. They're going to be without Steph Curry for a little bit. And then Draymond Green is dealing with a right quad contusion. Going to be joining Steph Curry. And then Klay Thompson is questionable. He sat out Wednesday due to rest. And now he's got an injury designation. And I don't know about you guys. And I hate to be like into the speculation business in terms of guys sitting or playing in with like narrative. How do I want to word this? Obviously, we're in the speculation business on guys sitting or not. But any of you guys shocked if Klay Thompson doesn't play today, all things considered, a 10-point spread in what should be a punt road game without your boys? Like, if I'm Steve Kerr knowing our system, I'm not risking Klay Thompson. So I feel like there's a real chance Klay Thompson doesn't play here. And if that were to be the situation, it'd probably be Jordan Poole and the Sunshine Gang. Guys like Moses Moody, Anthony Lamb, DiVincenzo. And I think Jordan Poole and DiVincenzo would be the two most interesting clicks for me. And then I lose a lot of interest real fast in Jordan Poole at almost 8K on FanDuel and over 8K on DraftKings. So the read here is I would expect Klay to be out. And I'm not sure if that's going to move the needle for me a ton in Golden State exposure because of the adjusted prices. Do you guys have a feeling in your bad knee with the storm coming in on the Golden State Warriors? Meanwhile, the Philadelphia 76ers, we got 11.5K for Joel Embiid. Should have his way. James Harden was a little bit surprise chalk in that last slate. Had 4 steals in the first quarter. Absolutely crushed it. He didn't really move much in price, around 10K on both sides. And this might get me in trouble, but at that price range, I'm still looking at guys like Trae Young, a little cheaper, LaMelo Ball, and that just maybe that's I gotta look at ownership, but I imagine that's gonna be more of the field's perspective as well. but I could see being light on Harden and Embiid with the concern for the scoreboard. And I would probably still go one or the other, even though it kind of worked out last game. So, what's your read on this game, chat? Are you thinking the same wavelengths as me as the Warriors? For the Warriors? What up, Absolute Power? Anthony says, if Gobert is out, Nas should crush Anderson too, maybe. The Andersons got tickets to the game? I feel he's out. No way they win against Philly. I agree. Like, why risk it? That's so good. I make a mean gallon of Kool-Aid. Not gonna lie. Ty Jerome to play with James Harden defense. I can get down with that. Min price essentially on both sides. Ty Jerome, if we lost Clay and we're able to boost his minutes here, sure. Especially, I mean, you might be hoping a little bit more for the blowout, but I think it's a reasonable game script considering it's a double-digit spread. Draymond out? Yeah, Draymond's out. Who's going to 5x their price on Golden State? I think DiVincenzo would have the most realistic shot. Maybe Jonathan Kuminga. My projection always loves Kuminga, but this would be a spot I'd have real foul concerns. I guess my question is, are you guys playing Jordan Poole? If you knew right now that Klay Thompson was out, is 8K Jordan Poole someone that you want to get to? And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I'm just genuinely curious what the pulse is here. Right? It's a group sess. This is where I'll just thinking out loud. Poole has 50 fantasy point upside. We saw it against Utah, but that was in a way more competitive game script. I don't know that Poole at 8K with negative game script, I guess you would say, is something I get to at all. Doug says you play Kuminga. Ant says I love DiVincenzo tonight with dual position eligibility. He could play 35 minutes and get a double-double. I would agree with that. I think, like, somebody asked who's more likely to 5x. I think DiVincenzo would be the guy I'd lean on the most to answer that question. But Kuminga's not too far behind. I just have real foul concerns for him. James, I feel for the Golden State ticket holders where half of their game star players end up being at 50. Oh, man. Some Pool on FanDuel. Playing a little bit of Pool. Let's get the official numbers on Pool here. And I guess we can elongate the time span to the beginning of last year. See what's a realistic per minute expectation in terms of production for Pool. Because, there is reason to have some pep in his step. Let's take Draymond off as well. I don't know that he's going to draw high ownership aggressive goose. Because I always feel like I'm a chalk donkey thought process wise, and I feel like AK Jordan Poole as a double digit road dog isn't something that would garner a ton of attention. So let's go since the beginning of last year, since it's essentially the same team. DiVincenzo pivot from Bogdanovich. That's a maybe. What up, James? Hope you're doing all right. So since the beginning of last year, Jordan Poole's been 1.14 fantasy point per minute without Steph or Draymond on the court with a 31% usage rate, 30% assist rate. And then take off Clay, take off Wiggins, I guess. Just kind of see what we got from that. I mean, they're in shambles. 1.2 fantasy point per minute, so that did go up. Usage rate, a little bit higher, 32%. The assist rate, 30%. What's the minute projection here? 37. I mean, 46 fantasy point, like 1.2 times 37, 44 fantasy points. This is in line. That's literally the projection I have. It's one like on DraftKings, and clearly you could play both of who I'm going to talk about, but how would I not just prioritize LaMelo Ball $200 cheaper and go there. Like, yeah, I don't think I get the pull, but man, I understand. I don't know. Maybe I get talked into it later on. I just don't want to regret fading it, but man, I no warm and fuzzies at the very least. Who should we get from Philly? Bench if it's a blowout. I don't think I would be playing bench risk in a 10-game slate. I don't feel like we have to do that. There's really nothing here I would want to get to anyway. Maybe Montrezl Harrell if you thought he was going to get 15, 20, shake Milton. But I just don't think it's worth the risk on a 10-game slate to put that much makeup on and get cute. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from that one. Make sure I didn't miss nothing. Senses they're going to stick Melton on him. I don't see Poole dropping 50. Yeah. If Poole dropped 40, I think everyone's happy. Like, I think I'm okay with fading that because I could still get to the top without his 40. If he dropped 50, though, then I would really put some respect on his name. But it just seems like a really rough spot as a 10-point dog to expect that. Still in the 7:30 set of games here. This last one, the Raptors hosting the Nets. Project starting 5 for the Nets. Kyrie Irving, Joe. Man, Twitter is crazy. Sometimes Twitter sends my phone alerts, and I just saw like Gleyber Torres trade, but it's like a proposal from that some guy tweeted that I don't even follow. I thought we just traded Gleyber Torres. I was with the. Okay. Anyway, Nets project starting 5. Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, Nick Claxton taking on Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Thad Young. Maybe that was kind of a curveball we got last slate. Started over Christian Coloco. 225 total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the visiting Brooklyn Nets. So 8,700, 8,500 for Kyrie Irving. That's getting kind of dangerously low. And then Kevin Durant, 10.3, 10.9K. So these are maybe some alternates at that price range. Like Kevin Durant, all things considered today, in the same price range area as a guy like Jason Tatum. I think I go Kevin Durant, even though it's a perceived tougher matchup. It's still a perceived competitive game. So that helps me feel better about fading that Celtics game. Nothing here that I feel like is going to be a priority on the surface for me, but I'll certainly see myself getting to some Kyrie exposure and some KD exposure. And on the Raptor side, the 4 of the starting 5 are likely to play 38 to 39 minutes. VanVleet and Siakam are the two most intriguing names to me game to game. Siakam kind of let us down in that last outing, but VanVleet did not. I think VanVleet went nuts with the steals, right? Pass on Brooklyn. That's fair too, because Brooklyn guys are premier in price. 4 steals in back-to-back games for VanVleet. 8 boards in that game. That's a little bit higher than you would expect. Double his average, 5 assists as well. But the 25 shot attempts, he literally doubled his shot attempts from the game prior. But in this spot, I don't think it's crazy to go back to well on him, especially considering he could play 40 minutes. So you're just hoping that he could be a point per minute, at least at that DraftKings price point. So he does make the pull for me there. And then Siakam, in the absence of Anunoby for another game, not that's like the one-to-one here, but Siakam's another guy playing crazy minutes, 39, 40 minutes, and his usage and per minute production has been really, really great this season as well. So I'm willing to forgive and forget a one-game poor performance, at least results-wise. And let's go pull up what Siakam has meant to the Raptors this season. Let's just take off Anunoby straight up. Irving over Durant all day. I think both those guys will fall into tier 3 for me anyway, meaning I'm not going to have like above 40%. You know what I mean? Tier 3 is usually going to be like sub 20% exposure for me, but I'm going to have exposure to both. This season, Siakam almost a 1.2 fantasy point per minute with a 27% usage rate, 24% assist rate. So leading the starting lineup in usage. Wait, why does it still have Anunoby when I clearly took him off? All right, there we go. 30% usage rate, 30+% assist rate. So a 1.2 fantasy point per minute on a near 40-minute projection. Yeah, I'm right back there on some Siakam exposure. Everything, I think, from this game, probably going to be tier 3, meaning under 20% for me. Siakam, Van Vliet, Durant, Kyrie. Don't know that I make much else a priority in this game with TJ Warren in the mix, and then Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Patty Mills, guys like that. So I think it's real simple of how I get exposure to this game. I'll have more confidence in getting to supplementary Raptors players just because they have deeper minute projections, like a Gary Trent, even though he was extremely disappointing for me the other night. Under 6K for potentially 35 minutes. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do much with Thad Young. What did it look like with him as the starter? Because it seems like the center spot here for the Raptors is interchangeable without deep minutes. But I guess 27 minutes, that's more than Koloko was offering. Koloko was like 12 minutes and not touching the court in the fourth. It was the first game back for Hernan Gomez, wasn't it? Or no, yeah, it was. And we had talked about the Hernan Gomez impact in terms of Chris Boucher's minute projection, and they actually played alongside each other quite a bit, so it wasn't a 1-to-1 impact. That's a big lineup. Hernan Gomez, Boucher, Koloko, wow. So maybe Thad Young is maybe I disrespected Thad Young a little bit. I put up 21 minutes on him, and it seems like it's fair to say that let's go. Thaddeus Young, DKP by game log when starting last 20 games. I just want to see what kind of minutes he's been getting, because he's started a few times this year. 28, 15 that he for sure started. The 30th, 26th. What happened here? Hey. Yo, Tony, I appreciate the sub, man. Welcome to the channel. 26, 27, 28. So 15 minutes here. What happened here? Just for whatever reason, that seems like an outlier. It seems like every other game that he started this season, he's played at least 26 minutes. So maybe I'm light on Daddy Young's minutes projection. So maybe I should go 25 to meet in the middle. But there's a real chance he plays 28 minutes. So maybe 3,400 for Thad Young is something we should put in the blender. What do you guys think? Not much for like per minute production, right? I don't know. I know some of those games like Siakam was out, so the situation is never 1-to-1. But I'm just trying to eliminate a narrative that he wouldn't play minutes. You know what I mean? Like Koloko just is banned from the fourth quarter. 9% usage on the court with Siakam, by the way. 0.5 fantasy point per minute. So that's not like anything I really want. But I guess if nothing else, I might adjust the minute projection to like 25. The front court for the Nets defensively has actually been really strong when Ben Simmons is active. Claxton, Simmons, Durant. So it's not like it's going to be an elite spot for him anyway. So maybe I'm thinking all this for naught. On FanDuel, I think the 5K price is enough for me to not have to get there. But 3,400, I could see it. Says Fred over Poole tonight. I agree with that. Any advice on how to approach a single entry in a large slate like tonight? So like yesterday, I thought Giannis might have been one of the higher owned studs, so I just went into battle without him. Essentially, build it safe, high floor, but pivot off of some of the highest owned players in that contest. I haven't looked at ownerships, but like, I don't know. I don't want to get caught up on recommending like pivoting off of like Trey and LaMelo because I'm in love with them. But usually the process for me would be find a 2v2 or 3v3, like build a cash game lineup, and then 2v2 or 3v3 the higher owned guys in that lineup with whatever projection source you use, and find guys that are a reasonable pivot. So I guess just for an exercise, go look at projections. So Trae Young's a bad example here. Who's I don't know, who's a 10K anybody? All right, just for an example, and I don't think either one of these guys are going to be high owned, but let's say Anthony Davis at 11.2K was 25%, but Joel Embiid was 5%. You know what I mean? Well, they're $300 apart, and the projection is less than 1 fantasy point. So that's where I'd be like, okay, well, let me just pivot here and hope that the deviation in their projection is well enough that maybe Embiid usurps him at like a 5 to 7 point projection. So that's just what I would do. So find 2 or 3 guys in a lineup like that you're running cash, and go that route. Otherwise, there's a couple strategies you could deploy. You could just build backwards, right? If you see the field tonight, it's going to build guard-heavy lineups with LaMelo and Trae Young and guys like that. And again, I haven't looked at ownership, so I'm just speculating. Then build backwards. Start with the centers, the big boy centers, right? Jokic, maybe Embiid, put them together, and then see where it goes from there. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to get creative. But you're in VIP, so I'll probably have some single entries on FanDuel tonight. I don't know about DraftKings. We'll see. Play Young if he starts at 3,400. Maybe. I still think at 3,400, like if you score less than 20, and that's possible, you're irrelevant. Heck, you could even score 20. I think you could score 24 or less at that price, and I wouldn't sweat it in the grand scheme of a 10-game tournament, a ceiling important tournament. Brunson, Poole, and Garland on FanDuel is close tonight. Yeah, so that is a good example, Doug. Those 3 guys. For me, I'd probably go Garland out of the 3. But I don't know. I haven't looked at ownership yet. But is Jordan Poole getting traction? Because I think it could happen, right? People just no Steph Curry, and then if like Clay were to get confirmed out, I could see people. I'm gonna play Brunson. But man, for me, AK Brunson as a massive road dog, like I don't know that there's a ton of meat on the bone here for me. So maybe that's how I'll just be unique to the field. But I feel like I'm not. I'm starting to give the field a lot of credit in terms of game theory. Let's move on to the 8 p.m. set of games. New York Knicks at the Chicago Bulls. Project 25 for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson taking on Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, and Nikola Vucevic. 225.5 total, 2.5 point spread in favor of the Chicago Bulls. So running back the other night, Let's go pull that game up. In that game, we saw Grimes, Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Brunson, Randall start. And then in the absence of Ayo Dosunmu, Caruso started. He logged 32 minutes, and we got 40 minutes of action out of Patrick Williams, Zach LaVine, Vucevic, and DeRozan. It was Nick Nurse Thibodeau-esque, right? So, and that's kind of something we saw on both sides, but the Knicks not as aggressive in their minutes. Some guys playing 5 less. So, I would think minute projection wise, we expect the same. Do we expect a similar score? 248 points were put up. We're getting like 23 less in the implied total, so maybe we take a step backwards here. But yeah, you mentioned Jalen Brunson. I like the projection that Jalen Brunson's offering over 40 fantasy points on both FanDuel and DraftKings for me at 6,800. That looks even better. So I'm fine with that. Brunson's certainly one of my favorite archetype in terms of guards to roster in DFS. Fills up the stat sheet just enough, and then we've seen double-digit shot attempts. So I like that call out. And then I also usually get to Randall at a heightened clip. And in that outing, 46 minutes, 19 shot attempts, 13 rebounds, 31 real points. So huge games out of them. So I'm willing to put those 2 guys in the blender. And on the Bulls side, without Dosunmu, I think it's reasonable to still land on Caruso a decent clip. Wait, Dosunmu is GTD, huh? Maybe I should be a little bit more responsible. Questionable. Pelvic contusion is questionable. Yeah. All right. So we take off the overtime period, and even if we do take off the overtime period, I still think I'm gravitating towards Julius Randle on FanDuel quite a bit, and then Jalen Brunson on DraftKings quite a bit. Everything else just kind of exists. Levine, DeRozan, Vucevic, that's still the same old approach. Probably 2 of 3, maybe 1 of 3 on a slate like this. Put them in a group for me. And then Caruso on DraftKings. If we lose Dosunmu, I'd probably still land there at a decent clip at 3,800. And yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, I went to overtime, Abel. It for some reason on Add More Funds on the minute breakdown, it's not showing the OT period. So at first, like, I thought that was regulation, but it's not. You like Levine? Yeah, Levine's the, I guess, the cheaper of him and DeRozan, so he tends to be the guy that I get to more of, just because the 1K discount and a similar projection. But I'm fine with getting access to all of them. But I would have some parameters set in Cruncher to prevent a bunch of overlap. Yeah. What else we got? We got the T-Wolves, Minnesota, at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves. D-Russ, Anthony Edwards crossing over with Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels, Kyle, the Andersons got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? Rudy Gobert, maybe. Taking on SGA. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, and Alexei Pokusevsky. We got 233 total. And the Thunder and the Lightning favored by 2. Huh? Wow. We said that yesterday with Grizzlies, right? And then Bucks got smoked. Wow, you almost never will see the Thunder favored for the rest of the season. So, with that said, the injury report for the Minnesota Timberwolves is a very notable one. We already know Cat's still down. D'Angelo Russell questionable with a left knee contusion. He was held out of Wednesday's loss to the Clippers, and Austin Rivers replaced him in the starting lineup. And then Rudy Gobert, left ankle sprain, is questionable. He hasn't missed a game since November 7th, but the possibility is there that he won't be available Friday night. Naz Reid would be the big winner fantasy-wise if Gobert sits. So that's a blurb from NBC Sports Edge, and I completely agree with that. Naz Reid is 4K on DraftKings, 4,500 on FanDuel. This 2-point spread is really got me wearing a tinfoil hat right now and thinking that one of, if not both of these guys could be down. And if that were to happen, yeah, we're loading up on Naz Reid, and Anthony Edwards looks like a really good play. And I think Anthony Edwards is worth having no matter what, just because of the absence of Karl-Anthony Towns, and this matchup being what it is. But yeah, I think T-Wolves become a big source of ownership if that information drops before the slate initially locks. And then I'm curious to see if we knew right now, you knew that there was no D-Russ, no Gobert, what would that do for our ownerships on the 8K LaMelo Ball, on the near 10K Trae Young? At least for me, that's the game I'm married to, because I would really think that Edwards has a real shot at 50-plus fantasy points, and then Naz Reid would just be dang near a lock button for me. So, wonder when that news drops and how the field will react. I certainly think that it would depress some of the Betty Davis eyes we would have for guys like Jordan Poole, or at least the field would have for guys like Jordan Poole. With the Thunder, I don't have a high level of trust with anyone that's not SGA, and then to a lesser extent Josh Giddey, but the projection is going to like these guys that we put minutes besides. I think Alexei Pokusevsky at 32-minute projection on DraftKings, netting back a massive return. But man, have we seen the Thunder play games with our heart, game by game. 8 minutes for Paku against Miami, 22, 34, 21. It seems like at every halftime for the Thunder, they pull names out of a hat, and then we have new starters or second half for the front court. So while I would love to lock in a 32-minute of this opportunity, I know that the risk is there that they just play games with that front court. So I'm never going to core a guy like him, but the potential is there. Bold call of the day. Anthony Edwards will drop 50 real points. Highest scorer on the slate. Let's go, Sen. I got no pushback. I mean, it's a bold call. It's a bold call. Let's go Minnesota. Let's put Edwards on. By the way, we got 180 of the coolest cats in all of YouTube chilling with us right now. And we only got 33 likes? Come on, man. Come on, man. Chat, gas me up, man. Let's get these likes up. Can we get to, like, I don't know, 70? That's less than half of y'all to hit that thumbs up. It'd be real cool if you did. Edwards is at 1.2 fantasy points per minute without Karl-Anthony Towns, straight up. 28% usage rate. That's this season. We'll take off Russ. He's at 1.34, 31% usage rate. Assist rate goes down. Why am I passive for? I could just shoot it. Take off Rudy Gobert. Not that that's going to do anything. It might create more rebound opportunities. 1.45 to 1.5 fantasy point per minute, 90 minutes of this sample this season. That's what you want. Let's go back to last year. $1.27. All right. I guess Beverly was there. Well, this year is really doggone good, so I'll be playing him quite a bit. And that's the thing. I think Edwards, we could deploy Edwards out right now at will, no matter what, and then it just becomes that much more lucrative if Russ and Gobert got ruled out later. But this is only an hour after lock, so there's at least a chance we have this information before main slate lock, which would be great. Would you guys get to Austin Rivers at all? Or Jalen Noel? It is the Christmas season. The first Noel. 8.5 fantasy points. 29 minutes. And I cut for Austin Rivers, man. That's crazy. 7 shot attempts. Hits one of them. How'd Noel do? 25 minutes. 17 fantasy points. Yeah. $4,600. Coco. Yep, Nasri would be a lot. And then running it back with SGA. So here's a unique thought. With just straight up right now, 10.2K on FanDuel for SGA, 9,700 on DraftKings. How often is SGA a better play than Trae Young? You know, Trae Young's $300 more on DraftKings. About 400 less on FanDuel. I would imagine Trae Young's going to come with more ownership, all things considered. But how often does SGA outscore Trae Young? So here's maybe a single entry thought. Obviously, it's above 0%. Would you guys play SGA over Trae straight up? Or would you need D-Russ to be out to do that? I don't really think it mattered to me. This 2-point spread with a 230 total is enough for me to be interested. Heck not a Rivers. Bruh. Y'all remember that Rivers playoff game he played for the Clippers? They were up against the Blazers. My man got busted up. He got his face sewn together. Still finished the game. Like after that game, I was like, I'm an Austin Rivers fan for life. But right now it's just been rough. Coach likes Rivers. Yeah, I mean he's a little veteran presence, but 1 for 7 is not what you want. Sen must be Raj's burner account. Nah, it's not. I have actually seen Sen and Raj in the same place at the same time. I like 50 real points is ambitious for anybody. But like I don't disagree with Edwards being a bold call in terms of popping the slate open. Decent spot for it. All right, Blazers at the Mavs. Projects 25 for the Blazers. Dame Dollar, Anthony Simons, Josh Hart, Jeremy Grant, Yusef Nurkic taking on Luka Doncic, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. 226 total, 4-point spread in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. So this is going to be one of those games that on a 10-game slate might be a candidate for me to X out. Mavericks second slowest pace in basketball. The Portland Trailblazers third slowest pace. It's a lot of Luka, some Lillard. Everything else seems supplementary to tertiary. I've kind of wrote off Jeremy Grant's per minute production with Lillard on the court. We've seen his usage go down. We've seen his shot volume go down substantially with Damian Lillard back. And maybe his price is getting caught up to the Lillard being here thing. But, man, I think it's a hard sell for me to get too much from this game outside of the big boys. And I'm not even there that much on Lillard. I mean, the same comp as SGA, Trae Young, and Lillard here at the price range. Lillard's always third in that three, so I think I can safely stay away from this game, and I'll let Luka fall where he'll fall. 12K on both sites. I have a massive projection for him. Him and Jokic are in a class of their own, and then there's a lot of other people at 50s. So it's just one of those games that exist. If it falls for Luka, but not much else for me. You guys got any pushback on that? He was a dog in high school, and his 1 year at Duke got the league and tucked his tail in. Man, Luka might drop 80. Yeah, Luka's not. We're not excluding Luka from the player pool. It's just ultimately this game just might fall by the wayside. But Luka's gonna be a guy that hits into the pool. But I don't even know that it's gonna be like a. I don't know. Probably, it's not gonna be like a 30% click for me unless some tons of value opens up and I just have ease of access to those raw points. But other than Luka, I can't really see much of a priority tier 1s or 2s here. Nuggets at the Lakers is our main event. Before I do that, we'll take a pause for the cause. Once again, remind you that this one is brought to you by Underdog. If you guys are not on Underdog, you should be. You can double your first deposit today up to $100 using code GUNDACKER when you sign up. We'll put a link in the chat for that. And it's kind of like PrizePicks. They have a pick'em contest, and I think a lot of people know that. A lot of people relate Underdog with like best ball drafts and stuff like that. But no, you can create cards just like PrizePicks. You could 20x your card, and it's really easy to search your players over here as well. And then in addition to the pick'em contest, they also have the rivals contest. So you can put players against players. So for instance, they kind of like handicap one side of it. So does Sabonis score 4.5 more points than De'Aaron Fox, and so on and so forth, right? PRA, they have all that. So a unique way to add to your slips here, playing the rivals mode. But I usually stick to the over/under, kind of the traditional parlay type card here, and there's a lot that I do like tonight. There's gonna be a night of the overs in my projections, I think so. So lots to choose from. If you're not on Underdog, you should be. Sign up using code GUNDACKER. They support this channel. They support these streams. So if you want to keep seeing these streams, show some love. Go check out Underdog. Main event tonight: Denver Nuggets, Los Angeles Lakers. Project starting 5 for the Nuggets: Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Taking on Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverley, Lonnie Walker, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. A 237.5 total, 1.5 point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. So we start the slate with a bunch of high totals. Right, we got a 240 game, a high 230 game, and then we close the slate with a high total. And you gotta like Jokic here as one of the guys that could finish the slate in raw fantasy point projection. I have him second to Luka right now, but I'd probably end up with more Jokic exposure. But then again, I guess that would be contingent on the Naz Reid news. Is Naz Reid center only on FanDuel? He is. Fudge. Yeah, then I probably. We'll see. We'll see on that regard. But I like Jokic quite a bit. On the Lakers side, Anthony Davis has just been crushing it as well. Him and LeBron James were actually coexisted in the optimal lineup or in the winning lineup. I think the last slate they were on. But those were forefront guys for me. Normal GTD tags on them. I don't think there's anything that I'm getting too scared of. And then past Jokic, 7K Murray's kind of a hard click. I'm not getting a fantastic projection for just about anyone. Aaron Gordon here and there. If he gets to 30 fantasy points, the projection kind of doesn't hate him. But it's really just Jokic for me, which is kind of crazy considering the total. And then on the Lakers side, I don't know. Do we stagger LeBron and AD? I know they coexisted last outing, but I feel like the usual approach for me on a slate this big is going to be to stagger them and hope for one super saiyan ceiling game. But I'm getting both of them at over 50 fantasy points. Let me see what AD's. Let's put context to AD's performance this season. Westbrook. Okay, can we put some respect? 1.5 fantasy point per minute, just straight up this season for Anthony Davis. I mean, that's just nutty. 29% usage rate. So I'm prioritizing AD over LeBron without a doubt. Just stay healthy. And that's what we got. All right, chat. We've got probably 10 minutes to circle back anything that you might have. Do we have any news? Any news drop out? Shout out to Underdog, by the way. By the way, if you guys want any of the deals or promos that we have for the channel, there's a link in the description below to our free Discord. We have the PrizePicks offer, the Underdog offer, and then if you're going to some of these games, SeatGeek has a deal with us to save you $20 on your tickets there. So click around there. But let's go see if we have any news since I've been live. Nothing big, just a lot of stuff for tomorrow. All right, so after this stream, I'm going to be right here in the NBA voice chat, counting down to lock, making up the player pool, and adjusting projections over and over. If you guys want to be part of that, go to rundfs.com, click yourself a subscription that's right for you. And today is the last day. I thought yesterday was, because I thought yesterday was going to be the last stream of the week, but I got my schedule messed up. So today's the last day to get $100 off the 2023 year pass. So all you got to do is go over there and type Cyber23, which is like Cyber Monday, Michael Jordan's number, and it'll bring it down to $4.99. You still get the $150 credit to Fantasy Cruncher, and then full year of access to rundfs.com, the spreadsheets for baseball, for basketball, for football, and the Discord voice chat. So let's see what you guys got in chat, and then we'll get out of here. You prefer LeBron, Doug, over AD? Okay. What up, Jared? You helped me out a lot, man. I appreciate you ducking. Yeah, respect Westbrook. Let's see, Westbrook, I have him at 37. So I mean, like at that price point and projection, I would maybe just get to Jamal Murray in the same game anyway. But I love me some Westbrook. If Kevin Huerter's out, play Terrence Davis. Yeah, I don't hate. I'll be on Terrence Davis for sure. $3,900, cheap enough price point. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't lock it like I did last slate, but I'm there on it. Makes a lot of sense. Chat, hit that thumbs up, man. Show me some love. Tomorrow, actually, is there a stream tomorrow? No, tomorrow, what do we got tomorrow? Football? NBA schedule? It'd be crazy to do a Saturday stream, wouldn't it? Isn't there football tomorrow? It would just be crazy to do a Saturday stream. Oh, we do have 5. There's a 5-game straight slate tomorrow. Maybe. We'll see. I don't want to commit to it, but maybe. Because I think my schedule's open tomorrow afternoon. And then Sunday, we'll take Sunday off. Next week we have decent. Okay. 4K Reeves getting heck of minutes. Yeah. $4.99 a month. No, that's for YouTube. I like Kuminga tonight and Okongwu, good value chalk. Pluto says Warriors starting lineup tonight. So I have a hunch that Klay Thompson doesn't play. Bing bong. Bing bong.
Pluto Jice super chatted $2. Warriors starting lineup tonight?
Appreciate the dono, by the way. I have a hunch that Klay Thompson doesn't play. So then I would probably project DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, Kuminga, Looney, and then probably Anthony Lamb. But I guess there's a pathway for like Moses Moody. But I think Anthony Lamb's drawn some random starts as well. But that's just my hunch that Klay wouldn't play because it just seems like a punt game at this point. If he did play, then it would be what I'm looking at: DiVincenzo, Poole, Klay, Kuminga, and Looney. But from this far out, I'd probably wager a guess that he's not playing. Vikings Colts at noon. Yep. 3 games tomorrow. All right, that means I gotta adjust the spreadsheet as well. I suck at NFL DFS. Nah. All right, I guess we're gonna give it to Young C. He's going to play us out of here, man. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day on a Friday afternoon. I got nothing but love for you guys, and all I ask is that you reciprocate that love to someone else in your life. Tell them you love them because it's a small world and a short life. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless, and go win some money.
Hey, Gun. Yeah. They know what time it is.
I got so much energy.
Gun Decker, you know how we coming, yeah, it's run DFS where we don't just play it, we run it. Whether for the long, couple dawns, a couple of buckets, guaranteed to chat. Check a back like we carrying luggage round here. Everybody fam, we don't care about the budget round here. You can turn your cash to a couple of hundred round here. No days off, every day we be hustling. Tell them good luck, God bless, go win you some money. Get a pen and a pad and come see where it really take you. Went from 50-50 cash in a hit in the milli maker. Got the updated news and the status on any player. The chalk of the night, do we lock it or do we fade it? They ask me how I'm doing, I tell them I feel it blessed. If you want a slow grind, go place a single bet. Trying to get rich, parlays or boost the odds. Soon you'll be cashing and dancing with the stars. NBA, NFL, the MLB up in VIP, balling like we want a GPP. 15 minutes to lock, and there's a DMP, no sweat. We gon' figure that out and we'll still bing. But remember that it's a marathon and not a race. You gotta put your heart in it no matter how long it takes. 8, 9, 10 next got me sitting in first place. Top value player today, let's break the slate.